And we are back with a Fox News alert. Nikki Haley holding a campaign event in Donahue, Iowa. Let's listen in for just a couple of moments here.
Giving you the answer. So I'm going to give you the answer. I saw every day at the United Nations. Terrorists, thugs, and dictators always tell us what they're going to do. They're amazingly transparent. Hamas said they were going to invade Israel. It happened. China said they were going to take Hong Kong. We watched it. Russia said they were going to invade Ukraine. They did what they said they were going to do. China said Taiwan is next. We better believe them. Russia said once they take Ukraine, Poland and the Baltics are next. Those are NATO countries. That puts America at war. This is about preventing war. It's always been about preventing war. That's why we should give them the equipment and ammunition they need to win. They don't want our troops, and we shouldn't send our troops. They want to win this on their own. Putin has hit rock bottom. We know that. They've lost 87% of their fighting forces that started the war. They've raised the draft age in Russia to 65. They're getting drones from Iran and missiles from North Korea. If we just supported Ukraine, that's only 3.5% of our defense.
Okay, I wanted to listen into those comments from Nikki Haley for just a moment. Obviously, another campaign event tonight in person after 3, of course, were canceled and it became virtual events yesterday. Joe Concha.
Well, Cheryl, the Big East, the Middle East, I should say, reaching a boiling point as the U.S. military carries out yet another strike against Iranian-backed Houthis rebels in Yemen. Fox News correspondent Lucas Tomlinson is at the White House tonight. Lucas.
Joe, we're coming to you from the White House press briefing room because the Secret Service has closed the North Lawn due to the pro-Palestinian protests going on right now outside the White House. Temporary fencing had been erected earlier. It's not clear how many of the protesters are also angry at President Biden's decision to launch a massive airstrike against Iran's other proxy group in Yemen. Early this morning, the guided missile destroyer USS Carney fired Tomahawk cruise missiles at a Houthi radar site to finish destroying it after it was not completely annihilated in the strikes Thursday night. While some Democrats were not on board with the strikes against those Iranian-backed Houthis, earlier former State Department spokeswoman Morgan Ortagus said it was a mistake for Biden to remove the Houthis from the terrorist list and cut off arms sales to Saudi Arabia.
We told them that the war had to end. What happened? The Houthis spent 3 years, instead of the Saudis continuing to go after them and do the work for us and go after the terrorist for us, the Biden administration spent the last 3 years letting the Houthis build up their capabilities. And now you have a nightmare scenario.
While walking to Marine One, President Biden was asked about a reporter about the presidential election in Taiwan. And we received word earlier that 2 U.S. Navy SEALs are missing this evening off the coast of Somalia after members of SEAL Team 3 conducting a daring raid on a cargo ship at sea in rough waters. One of the SEALs fell off the ladder while attempting to board the cargo ship. His teammate dove in to try to save him. Both SEALs are now lost at sea. Search and rescue operations are ongoing this evening, Joe.
Lucas, thank you. Nikki Haley has something to say about President Biden's comments. Presidential candidate Nikki Haley has obviously a lot of thoughts on this. She just wrapped up a one-on-one with One Nation host Brian Kilmeade, who joins us now live on set. Mr. Kilmeade, your big takeaway from this interview with Nikki Haley.
She's confident. She was cold. She was out there campaigning. And, you know, she was willing to, she's very confident that she's going to do both well in both Iowa and New Hampshire. And I think that she's energized. Also, add this. I asked her to respond to Ron DeSantis going right to South Carolina and any rumors of him bailing out. She's convinced it's going to eventually be a one-on-one race. But I did ask her about what happened with Taiwan and the elections. And a lot of people are like, why do we care about Taiwan's elections? Let's focus on Iowa. We could be in the middle of a war because China said, whatever you do, don't elect this guy. And that guy ended up winning. And he's the independent candidate that wants to continue the democratic mores of the island. Here's her comment on what it means for us.
I think that a lot of what Biden's doing is clumsy. What keeps me up at night is what happens between now and Election Day. Because, I mean, you look at him now, he's definitely different than he was a couple of years ago, and it's scary for everybody. But that was a great win for Taiwan. Keep in mind, China was flying drones overhead. They were doing every intimidation tactic that they possibly could on the people of Taiwan. And at the end of the day, democracy won.
Right, and she was just responding to the fact that Joe Biden today came out when asked about Taiwan, should it be independent? He said no, but you need an explanation. Taiwan is a territory of China. It's never been occupied. Go back to 1949. Chiang Kai-shek loses to Mao. He goes to Formosa. It becomes Taiwan, basically under martial law until 1987. After 1987, it becomes a thriving democracy, which is an ally of ours. And he just goes, no, it's not. They shouldn't be independent. But in the back of his mind, he knows that President Xi told him it's just a matter of when we're taking Taiwan. Think about how you're going to react.
Well, then what happened in San Francisco between Xi Jinping and Joe Biden? You know, I mean, this is that weak comment from Joe Biden about the elections in Taiwan. Yeah. I mean, I think this all goes back to San Francisco.
Cheryl, he doesn't give interviews. Right, he doesn't give interviews. He gives one-word answers where you need an explanation. The average person goes, wait, I'm not for Taiwan independence. Have we kicked them to the curb? No, we haven't kicked them to the curb. We have a relationship with them. It is deliberately a gray area, but they're a territory, and we have to decide how much it means. At one point, he's got to respect the press and the American people enough to explain himself, unless he doesn't know.
Brian, getting back to Iowa caucuses on Monday and issues that affect people there, they're obviously thinking about what they deal with every day in their state, but also nationally with who the Republican nominee will ultimately have to run against, who is Joe Biden, we think still anyway, at least until the convention, according to the DNC. Right. Did you talk to the former UN secretary, the former governor of South Carolina, about trade at all? Because China has been a big problem for farmers in Iowa. They've taken over a lot of farmland in states across the country. Is that a topic that came up in light of this Taiwan election, which was a push against China's invasion of that independent country? More
on Thursday when I interviewed her on Fox and Friends. But I would say this when it comes to trade. I think that she's just got to come out and say, when I was governor, we had a different view of China. You know, there was a debate on whether China was truly an enemy or an adversary. You know, an adversary or a friend or a competitor. Now that case has been settled. But instead, she seems to want to pivot and just pretend as if she didn't have a different philosophy when it comes to them at that point.
Well, this is certainly a must-see interview tonight. 9 o'clock.
Yep.
Eastern time.
Yes.
6 o'clock in San Francisco.
I believe so, if you can do the math.
That's the way it works.
So, yeah, we got a great roster of guests. If you want to take a look at them now, we got Michael Pillsbury to debate this whole China thing. We're also going to have Morgan Ortagus who's going to be on with us as well. And we're also going to have Sid Rosenberg. Not easy to be a Jewish celebrity in New York right now, especially. And
you got Fox Nation tomorrow, right?
Next Sunday on the 21st at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, when you're not watching football, you're going to be flipping over and watching Fox Nation. I'm going to be streaming live America Great from the Start on stage, talking about our great history and trying to win the war on history we're in the middle of right now. And
you recommend drinking while watching that?
I would prefer you be drinking. Okay. And if you want to get tickets and be there and drink, BrianKilmeade.com.
Okay. All right.
I'll get you a discount, 5% off.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.